0. Okay.
Okay. Hello, programmers. My name is Ernest, and today I'm here driving my video with Cabello.
Yeah.
Cabello, you there?
Yeah, I'm there, Ernest. Hello, guys. Lean navigating driver. Shot.
Okay. So today we're going through our React chapter 9, and we're gonna be building a grid with Firebase, in our React module. So in this application, we'll have list of users, and we'll be able to add new users, edit and populate forms, delete users with confirmation module, and submit changes to Firebase via push and update method. So Camilo will go through like our main code,
Yeah.
but what I would just highlight right now is just like our key Firebase operations,
No
which would
problem.
just be via like create, read, update, and delete, which will use say which will just call the function which will call Firebase the database, and then we will use our push, like for our username and our email, and then in terms of read, we will also call on our Firebase, same as delete, and then we use our method of remove, and then for updates we use the method of update, and yeah, basically that's that, and then we also have editing form logs, and then we edit, we detect edit mode via root parameters, via using this ID equals to this props match parameter dot ID. And yeah, let me not talk much on the code because Camilo will just take us through that just now.
No problem. All right. Okay, guys. Well, you're gonna get what's been requested of me. It's Cavallini. All right. So I will go through the code now. Okay. So right. Let's get to this. So it's chapter 9. Okay. So what we have here is, before I go over like the Firebase sources, let me go over the pretty much the stuff that I need to go over, which is like the applications. So we have here is our app.js. So this is pretty much like the JavaScript functionality uh, for my Firebase or my app. So as you can see here, I got my imports. Then I'm a function app. So as you can see here, the ChatGPT comments, so it's add user page. So this is the page from an add user, and this is the page from an edit user, and then this is the fallback on which we don't get users, so it just falls back on this. So yeah, it's pretty much our function app, so function, then our app. Then what we have here is we render the return, of our pages. So browser, router, and so on and so forth. So that's pretty much what we have here. And then we got Firebase config.js. So what we have here is a source Firebase config.js. So import initialize app, then get apps from Firebase app. So this is pretty much yeah, from Firebase app. Then import. So these are the imports. So this is the configurations for my app. So in the actual app, right, we got configurations that you, or source codes that we'll use, to pretty much create everything that you need to create. So you go to your Firebase, pretty much go to your main app for Firebase, and then what that does is it pretty much it holds all the details in regard to like the project configuration. So you got our imports, initialize, get apps, Firebase database. So it gets the database pretty much like what we had here for MongoDB, like the SQL, then analytics. So it just analyzes our Firebase app. So you got our Firebase project configuration. So you got our API key. So this is the key to all our APIs that we're gonna make use of. So the APIs that our project has, or the online library that we have in order to access all the information that we need to access, an authorized domain. So the main domain or domain is pretty much the main place where we access anything like our app. So authorized domain. So it just authorizes our app, you know, it just encrypts our app, right? That's what it does. Then database URL, so this is a URL for our database project ID, storage bucket, messaging, sender ID, app ID, so on and so forth. Then here's the link to our domain, Firebase link, then initialize app, and then your real-time database, and then if our statement for console logs, if supported analytics gets our app, or else console log analytics not supported in this environment. So it pretty much gets our environment and then yeah, encrypts it. So you got a Firebase configurations, and then we pretty much and then what we have here, we went through the rest of the stuff in our previous. So Firebase source RC, our project's default, and then our Firebase.json is pretty much where we store all our node modules for our Firebase. So hosting, public, ignore, rewrite, source, destination, so on and so forth. So that's pretty much what we need to go over, and then you also have our build. So this is our build for our node. So it's pretty much got our index.html, right? It's got that, and then it's also got our assets. And then for our then for our Firebase, we also got a hosting cache, our cache for our hosting. So it's the CSS, JS, robust text. So pretty much all the files that have been cached into our Firebase hostings. So they get transferred into our hosting, so that when we use our domains via our Firebase, our actual main app will cache all our stuff here. So that's pretty much what we're dealing with. So we got user profile, app data roaming, and then we got node modules, Firebase CMD, so on and so forth. So that's pretty much what we've got here for our user profiles. Then what I did in my terminal was I declared my Firebase here. So I logged in. So I pretty much declared my Firebase here. So npx Firebase login, Firebase CLI, enable Gemini and Firebase features, no. Allow Firebase collect CLI and emulator site using usage and error reporting information, yes. So I'm pretty much like encrypting all the settings that I'm going to require from my Firebase. So my preferences at any time, run Firebase logout, so on and so forth. Then waiting for authentication, and then npm Firebase build init, then npx Firebase init, Firebase. You're about to initialize a Firebase project in this directory, and then your choices: hosting setup, deployments for static web apps, then project setup, then using existing project, build, yes, no, so on and so forth, and then run build, then create and optimize, and then yeah. So yeah, this is pretty much everything that we need. then I compiled my project, and then I compiled it again, and then I logged into